Hi everyone, I'm Alien Square and welcome to the double draws strategy for football games. Some of you are already familiar with this strategy. This is betting on draws. So the most you need to do is pick some teams and bet that those teams will draw eventually. I will have three things for this presentation. The first thing is the list with the games in Italy as an example, the last 5 games for each team. The second thing is the file that I made for calculating the bets that you need to put for the teams that you follow. And the third thing is the presentation itself. So this is called double draws, and I will come to a short description of this strategy. What you need to do is pick a team that is you consider that is more likely to make a draw in the next games. Bet on the draw. You'll get from 3.2 to maybe 4 or 5 the odds for that team. In case you lose the bet, you need to bet again on the next game and on the next game until you eventually will win. So this is the strategy. I will take one example. If you pick Lazio, in this case, you will see that Lazio had a win 4-0 against Empoli, which is a loss to you. It will have a loss with Juventus, which is also a loss to you, and on the third match it will have a draw against Chievo, which is a win for you. And you can go to pick another team or pick Lazio again, up to you. Why this is powerful? Maybe you are familiar with this strategy, or maybe you thought about this strategy in your mind. What if we bet on the same team over and over on each game until it makes a draw? This is profitable because you need to increase the stake so that you cover your previous investments. Meaning that you bet €2 for a team, didn't make a draw, you will bet €3. On the next game you will bet €4 and so on, so that it will bring back your investment and also make you a profit. What is not good, and this is why does it say the best way to get you a profit? In most of the websites, it will not show you the best way, because it will say that you need to increase the stake with some amount. They don't calculate that. So what I did, I calculated and I put 2 rules for this strategy. The first rule is cover the losses and ensure the profit is constant. And this is why I calculated the bet so that the profit is constant. You don't need to increase the bet too much, because it will end up increasing the investment too much, and in case the team will not make a draw, then you don't have the chance to cover more games. What is important is that you cover sufficient games with the money that you have, so that the investment is bring back to you. And this is the second rule, and the most important: you need to cover your losses. You don't need to lose money on this strategy, because it is very risky. Both these rules are covered in the file that I showed to you at the start of the presentation. And coming back to the file, this is the file. You can fill up only the cells that are yellow or this color. So say you pick up a team from First League Italy. I will pick Palermo. Writing the name Palermo just to have this team. Okay, looking at the last games, uh, 2 wins against Udinese and Genoa, and a loss against Parma. So what I'll do is to put these things. Say we bet on each of these games. What is the only bet that you can put on this file is the minimum bet that you can put for this team. I recommend it to be €2 if possible, so I will put €2. The odds generally are between 3 to 3.3 to 4 maybe, so I'll put 3.4, 3.5, 3.3. Here it needs to be n, and I will explain you in just a bit. And here is the result that Palermo had each game: a win, and a loss. Okay, which makes the profit to be 0. Here you'll need to put the profit that you want to have with this strategy. So meaning for each game, the bet that you put will ensure you to have this profit. Say €3. Okay, so having a profit of €3, you will need to have these bets, considering these odds that you get, and considering the previous investment. Meaning that if after the first 2 games the investment was €4, and you get these odds from the bookmaker, then this calculates against the investment, against these odds, and against the bet, and will mean that you need to put €3.04 to have this investment. Okay, and you'll just see in just a bit. Say you have 3.5 with the next game. This is again n, and this is finally a draw. Okay, you see that it calculates the €3 profit from the investment that you had so far together with this bet, and it gives you €3. So this is what's good with the file. You don't need to think too much how much you should bet. You don't have the chance to increase it too much because it's very important to stay on the lowest limit you can. And you'll see in just a moment. Say you didn't win, you have a loss, another loss, another loss, another loss. Okay, this is 3.3 and 3.5, 3.4. Okay, here it's n, and this is the total investment you had after 7 games. So is it much? This is up to you to consider. For each of these games, it happens to be a draw, you'll have €3. You can change it. You can use the strategy with €5, and you just see that the investment after 7 games is €37, and if you put to have a €5 profit, the investment will be bigger, will be 51. Okay, so this is up to you. If you put more profit, of course you can't cover so many games, but you have another option. You can put €5 profit, and say after the 4 games you will decide that you don't need to risk anymore, and you just want to have the investment back without any profit. Meaning that after 3 games you put y instead of n. Y, and the Excel will know that you want 0 profit, meaning that you risk for €5 profit just on the first 3 games. After starting with the 4th game, the profit will be 0, and for you just to cover the investment. Okay, assuming this is a draw, you can see that the profit is 0. It calculates the bet so that the profit it will be 0. Okay, but this is a loss and you have the draw here. Okay, isn't it wonderful? Okay, assuming this is a in progress game, you can put here the odds if you want to see how much you should bet for the next game. 3.5. This is just for your information. Okay, you have a bet in progress, you have already the odds for the next game, and you see if assuming this bet will be lost, this is the next bet that you should put against these odds. Okay, this is very good for you to anticipate and to see the investment, which is the same as here, and the next bet. So assuming this is a loss, we'll copy 3.5, which we have here. We'll copy in this file, and this will calculate the next bet. Okay, it will do for the next bet over and over until you need it. Okay, but we assume this is a draw, so we have 0 profit, we have the investment back, and hopefully you would have money from other teams, because you see that Palermo manages actually to bring money on the 4th game. So meaning if we go with the 4 games, we will have without this, so this is a draw, but we didn't want to risk too much, and we don't have a profit because we put Y here. If we would have selected N, going back to what I said, it will increase the bet, it will increase the investment, but we would have some profit. And we put Y here because starting with the next game, the profit will be 0. Okay, so at a point you will need to decide going with the higher profit and then put Y and bring the profit to 0 just to take over the investment, or going with €3 profit, which will make the investment much smaller, €11 with this game, but we already covered and have a profit of €3. So this is in short this file, what it does. You will see that most of the teams, if you take them from the middle of the table, which I recommend to do so, because say the first 5 teams will fight for a European Cup, the last 5 teams will fight for avoiding retrogradation, and you can see that there are no draws. They were likely to risk for a win. There are no draws, and taking from the middle of the table, you'll have draws for every team except Genoa in this case, which you need to cover more than 5 games. So you need to have a loss and then a loss again, and don't go with the Y just to cover the investment. And you can take money from other teams. If you go to €5 rate, you'll have for these draws 5, 10, €15 only from this team in 5 games, which is quite good, I must say. Okay, this is the file. Hope this is very intuitive for you to use if you want. And going back to the presentation, so I put the 2 rules which I explained, with a N for this for having a profit constant, with a Y for having the profit 0 and just take back the investment. Going to the good and bads. The good is that you can follow this strategy for multiple teams. You can see that you can use this file for every of these teams, starting with the 6th one until the 15th place. So you can put a file for every of these teams. This ensures you the same profit even it's a draw on the first. It isn't even it's a draw on the first match, even you lose some games and then you get a draw, which is what I explained. The profit is still €3 or how much you want to be. A team should eventually draw, right? This team in my example ways, Genoa should eventually draw. It had 5 games and it should draw in the next games. This is the assumption. The more games it had without a draw, the more it should draw the next games. This is my assumption. The bad thing is that maybe a long period of time until a draw. You may have for these teams a draw in the first game. You don't need to wait too much, you just bet and get the profit. You will have a draw on the second game, which means that you need to wait until the second week, because usually a team plays one game per week, so you need to wait 2 weeks to get a profit. For this team you will need to wait more than a month. So if I take one game on each week, it will be 5 weeks without the draw. So you have the investment blocked. You have this money blocked here. Okay, you'll have €15 which will be blocked on this team. You need to pick teams correctly. As you've seen, you will need to have a strategy for picking the teams. Don't pick the first teams. As I said, don't pick the last teams in the table. But even if you pick the teams from the middle of the table, you can find one example like this where it doesn't draw. So this is a bad thing, because you need to pick the teams correctly, but in all the cases they will have a draw. Going further to the end of my presentation, if you have any feedback or comments, please feel free to put them on YouTube or contact me on this aliensquare3@gmail.com. Your suggestions and ideas are appreciated, and of course if you like and share the video with this presentation and want to have this file, please email me and I will give it to you for free. Thank you and hope you enjoy it. Good luck with your bets.